40 years, that's what Raymond allegedly gave the Watchtower organization. He claimed he built kingdom halls across continents, worked 60-hour weeks in the accounting department, never took a salary, never asked for one. He believed he was serving God. At 62 years old, they called him into the office and told him his services were no longer needed. They gave him 2 weeks' notice, a bus ticket to home, and a monthly allowance of $150 to start all over. No pension, no severance, no social security, no thank you. Tonight we expose how more than 8 million people unknowingly fund a billion-dollar corporation built on free labor. And what happens to those workers when they are no longer useful? By the end of this video, you understand why governments across 4 continents are asking the same question. How is this legal? The human cost. Raymond's story isn't unique, it's the system. Meet the invisible workforce behind the Watchtower empire. Margaret, 38 years at Brooklyn, Bethel, worked in the laundry facilities, then the kitchen, then as a seamstress. Dismissed at 64 with chronic back problems, with no insurance, monthly allowance, $150. Then let's go to David at 42. David at 42 started as a construction worker building kingdom halls in South America. Moved to headquarters as project manager. Dismissed at 67. He now lives with his elderly sister because he has no retirement savings. How cruel. Susan and Tom, a married couple who gave 35 years together, both worked in the printing facilities. When the organization downsized in 2016, they were given 3 weeks to leave. They are now in their late 60s, working retail jobs to survive. Now, these aren't isolated cases. Between 2015 and 2016 alone, the Watchtower dismissed hundreds of long-term Bethel employees across the world. Some had served for 30, others 40, and others for 50 years. So what exactly is a Bethelite? They are full-time employees who live and work at Watchtower headquarters and branches around the world. They do everything: printing and shipping of magazines, construct kingdom halls, manage finances and legal departments, cook, clean and maintain facilities, translate publications into hundreds of languages. In other organizations, this workforce would cost millions of dollars in annual payroll. But the Watchtower Society pays nothing. Instead, Bethelites receive a shared room, meals in a communal cafeteria, a monthly allowance of $120 to $150, no health insurance after dismissal, no retirement plan, no social security contributions. One former worker said, "We were told that accepting money would corrupt our service to Jehovah, that true Christians don't work for pay. We believed we were storing up treasures in heaven. We never imagined we would be thrown out with nothing." Here's what makes this system truly insidious. The workers don't just lose their jobs when they are dismissed. They lose everything. Most Bethelites have no savings. They've spent decades earning $150 a month. They have no work history outside the organization, no professional references that secular employers recognize. Many have no family to return to. They have been at Bethel since their early 20s. Now, because the Watchtower classifies them as volunteers and not employees, they have paid nothing into Social Security. After 40 years of full-time work, the government sees them as if they had never worked at all. Raymond describes his dismissal as follows. "They called me in on a Tuesday morning, told me that the organization was restructuring, said my services were no longer required. I asked about brothers and sisters I'd worked with for decades. They said not to discuss it. I asked where I was supposed to go. They handed me information about applying for government assistance. Then they gave me a bus ticket and 2 weeks to park 40 years of my life." He was 62 years old. He had $1,800 in savings. No family, no home, no job prospects. The organization he had built buildings for, managed finances for, given his adult life for, they had just sold one of those Brooklyn buildings for $340 million. So how does an organization convince thousands of educated and capable people to work for it for decades for free? It starts with the money you donate. Every month, 8 million Jehovah's Witnesses around the world place cash in 2 boxes just like this one. Small amounts, $5, $10, sometimes just coins. They are told it supports missionaries, kingdom halls, and spreading their faith, and they believe it. Because they are also told something else. We don't pass collection plates. We don't demand tithes. We don't pay clergy salaries. Everything we do is paid by voluntary donations. It's true, but just on paper. But former members describe it as subtle, more insidious. A culture where generosity is not encouraged, but it is weaponized. Children's videos show animated characters giving their ice cream money to Jehovah. Convention talks remind members that true Christians give their valuable things to the organization. Elders, private council families who aren't contributing enough. One former elder described it this way: you were never forced to give, but if you didn't, people noticed. And they questioned your spirituality, your standing in the congregation, whether you truly love Jehovah. The guilt is invisible, but it's effective. The results speak for themselves. Australia alone, 32 million collected in 1 year. United Kingdom, over 1,600 properties owned. United States, billions in assets. Worldwide, a fortune that rivals multinational corporations. But here's what most people don't know. Their donations don't stay local. Let's follow that dollar bill from the moment it drops into the box. You are sitting in a kingdom hall in Ohio. You place $20 in the box, believing it will help maintain your local building, support local needs, maybe send a missionary to another country. But that's not what happens. Since 2014, every congregation in the United States has been required to send a fixed monthly contribution to headquarters in Warwick, New York. Not a suggestion, not a request, a requirement. Your local elders don't decide the amount. They are told what to send, and they send it every month without fail. In 2020, the United Kingdom went even further. Over 1,600 congregations were dissolved into a single entity called the Kingdom Hall Trust. Overnight, local congregations lost ownership of their buildings. Properties that had been purchased and maintained by local members for decades, buildings they had cleaned, repaired, and paid with their own donations, were absorbed into a centralized trust. One former elder recalled, "We needed urgent roof repairs at our Kingdom Hall. The funds were there, sitting in the local account. Money our congregation had saved for exactly this purpose, but headquarters had already claimed the surplus. They told us to wait. The repairs were delayed for 6 months while our ceiling leaked, and members continued donating to a fund they could no longer access." Critics have a name for this system: the money laser. Money goes in, it never comes back. And this is how the organization funds its free labor system. This money doesn't pay Bethelite workers who do the work. They don't provide pension for workers who work for decades. They don't offer health insurance or retirement plans. Instead, they fund infrastructure that extracts more free labor. When Kingdom Hall needs to be built, the organization doesn't hire contractors. They send out a call for volunteers. Members take vacation days from their paying jobs to work for free. They bring their own tools. Sometimes they even pay for their own materials. Here is a clip of one person and his spouse who volunteered to go and provide labor at the Warwick headquarters.
It's always been a dream to be at Bethel, so I'm very happy that we got accepted. We've come here to build the New World headquarters. Initially, Bethel called and they said, we'd like you to come out for 1 to 6 weeks. And I thought to myself, well, if I take off 6 weeks, I'd have to quit my job. So we thought about it and we prayed, and then the next day we called Bethel back and we said, we'll come out for 6 weeks. We've both been assigned to the plumbing department.
And I'm working in pipe insulation. It draws us closer together and it gives us many memories that we'll be able to cherish together for a long time.
The building gets constructed. The organization takes ownership. And when it's eventually sold, the profits go to the headquarters. Not to the volunteers who built it, not to the congregation that used it, and the cycle continues. Young people are recruited to Bethel with promises of spiritual privilege. They are told sacrificing a career, a salary, a normal life is the highest form of service. But they are not told what happens to them when they turn 60. Here is a dramatized video of a young man planning to work at Bethel. Despite the advice he was given about how he would take care of his wife, the spiritual call was knocking on his door.
So, Aiden, what you been up to lately?
Well, I'm about to graduate soon.
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't wait. And, I'm thinking about applying to Bethel.
Okay, Bethel. All right, really?
Yeah, I've been wanting to do it since I was a kid.
Okay.
Bethel's nice, but you got to think about your future.
Yeah.
How will you support yourself, or how would you support a wife after Bethel?
You can still serve Jehovah right here.
That's true.
I know, I get it. When I was your age, they told me the end could come tomorrow too.
Yeah.
But look at us. We have a real comfortable life.
And we're still witnesses, Aiden. You're so young and smart. There's so many opportunities open to you right now. It's nice that you have spiritual goals, truly. But you also need to be realistic. He's being realistic.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ways you can serve Jehovah at Bethel.
Like what? Washing windows?
But if it means putting Jehovah first, is there anything wrong with that?
Of course, nothing's wrong with that. It's just that he could have so much more.
Anyway, lunch was amazing. Thank you so much, Shayla. I can't believe you did all of this for us.
What especially motivates so many to serve at Bethel? Love for Jehovah moves us to put kingdom interests ahead of...
Hey, you okay?
Yeah.
Hey, don't let Chris and Nikki get in your head. Their focus seems to be off. Did you want to talk about it?
No, I think I'm good.
Thanks, Dad.
Okay.
Satan has always done this. He tried to tempt Jesus with what the world could offer. But Jesus didn't focus on himself. He focused on Jehovah and doing his will. That's what I'm gonna do.
Submitting your application may open a door of opportunity to serve Jehovah and his organization in a variety of ways.
Now let's actually talk about where the money goes. While Raymond was being given a bus ticket, the organization was just closing a biggest deal in its history. For over a century, the Watchtower's world headquarters was in Brooklyn, New York. Prime real estate in one of the most expensive cities on earth. These buildings weren't purchased with corporate funds. They were purchased with your donations. Decades, sometimes a full century, of a small contribution from ordinary members who believed they were supporting God's work. Then, between 2014 and 2016, the Watchtower sold them all. 30 Columbia Heights, $340 million US. 25 to 30 Columbia Heights, $200 million. 117 Adams Street, $345 million. Brooklyn Heights properties, $87 million. Additional properties, $200 million plus. Total sales claimed to be over $1.2 billion. The organization moved its new headquarters to Warwick, New York, built almost entirely by volunteer labor. Thousands of Jehovah's Witnesses donated their time, skills, and money to construct it. And when the Brooklyn buildings were sold for more than $1 billion, not one penny was returned to the congregations that funded them. Not one penny went to volunteers who maintained them. Not one penny was set aside for the Bethelites who worked in them for decades. Instead, the money vanished into investment portfolios, corporate accounts, financial structures that most members will never see, legal defense funds for abuse cases. And who was abused? The members' children. Remember Margaret, the woman who worked 38 years in laundry and kitchen? It is claimed she was dismissed in 2016. The same year, the organization sold the building in which she worked for $340 million US. Her severance package, $150 US a month for 6 months only. Then, nothing. This is how the system works. Step 1. Collect donations from 8 million members worldwide. Step 2. Centralize all funding at headquarters. Step 3. Use free volunteer labor for all operations. Step 4. Acquire and develop real estate with donated funds and free labor. Step 5. Sell property for massive profits. Step 6. Return all profits at headquarters. Step 7. Dismiss aging workers with no compensation. One former Bethelite accountant explained, "We processed millions of dollars every month. I saw the numbers. I knew how much money was coming in and where it was going. When they started the mass layoffs in 2014, I asked why we couldn't provide severance or retirement packages. I was told that would set a dangerous precedent. That would make us look like a business and not a religion." 6 months later, he was dismissed too. 41 years of service. He received 3 months of $150 US allowance and a letter thanking him for faithful service. And now governments are starting to ask questions. The Royal Commission investigation into organization finances and abuse cover-up. United Kingdom. Charity Commission investigations into financial transparency. United States. IRS scrutiny of tax-exempt status given commercial real estate operations. Norway. Government revoked state funding over human rights violations. The questions they are all asking: How does an organization that operates like $1 billion corporation, that sells real estate for massive profits, that maintains a workforce of thousands, how does it qualify for tax exemptions? And most importantly, how does it avoid basic labor protection for its workers? If the Watchtower were classified as a business, Bethelite would be employees with minimum wage protections. Dismissed workers would receive unemployment benefits. Long-term workers would have retirement plans. The organization would pay payroll taxes. Workers would have legal recourse for wrongful termination. But because it's classified as a religion, workers are volunteers with no legal protection. Dismissal requires no cause or severance. No retirement obligations exist. No payroll taxes are paid. Workers have almost no legal recourse. This isn't about money, it's about people. It's about Raymond, who gave 40 years and got a bus ticket. It's about Margaret, who is 68 and badging groceries to pay rent. It's about David, who built buildings around the world and now lives with his sister in a spare room. It's about hundreds, maybe thousands, of people who believed they were serving God and discovered they were serving a corporation that discarded them at the moment they became expensive.
Enjoyed this video? Subscribe, like, and share, and don't forget to ring the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future uploads. Want to learn more about JW mistreatment of Bethelite workers? Click the playlist above for more eye-opening videos.